Right, let's so I watched a video about the repair of a 1541, and apparently what the drive is supposed to do is to show, well, the green light is connected to mains basically, well, not mains, but you know, the main power supply, and the red light should lit up. The drive should spin, which is apparently what the drive does. If there's no processing, it just spins. And when the processing happens, when the CPU takes over and executes the code, the red light should stop and the drive should stop spinning. So this one, the red light is doing what it's supposed to do, if I remember that right. Yes. So if I power it up, now you can't see it, but there's a red light, and it switches on, it turns on for 1 second, but the drive does not spin, which is not good. So let's start with some diagnostics here, and I found the service manual of this thing. And let's check some voltages, because I think these are two voltage regulators in a quite unusual package. That's a 7812, so anything 78 something is a voltage regulator. 7812 means plus 12 volts, so you got, I don't know, 20 volts going in, and it comes out as 12 volts, perfectly regulated, stable. And you can feed a computer with that one. And that is, oh, that should be another 78 something. At least on the other one, it says 7805. Basically, one is 12 volts and the other one is 5. So you got, this is coming from the transformer, so that's AC. And I can't even read, well, I did something off camera. And again, I need to find a pin out of this, but this is on right now. And again, I'm assuming this is AC because I've got two bridge rectifiers here. And if I try and measure something, I've got 3 volts. It doesn't make sense. So first thing I'd like to try is to measure this without the PCB, in case there's a short somewhere. So again, this, from all I can see, this is just there's a transformer. It's linear, there's not switching or anything. So let me try this. Four. Okay, so I got 12 volts. No, maybe. What is it? Right, 11.2 AC on the blue. And oh, okay, and 18 volts on the orange. Now, what if I plug this back up? Okay, same behavior. Let me try and remeasure it again. Okay, so I was just measuring wrong. So 16 on the orange and 10 on the blue, which I have no idea whether that's the right one. Anyways, so the service manual says smell old computers, I hope. So using multimeter, measure voltage across 665 4, so that's model 1501, so that's C5. Let's put this in DC. C5, it's a capacitor C5. That's the main CPU. Okay. I'm checking the pin out right now. So VSS. Ah, okay, so it's on a different pin. So we can check on pin 8. That's VCC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, that's my problem. I don't read anything. Now, I'm assuming that that is correct ground. But even if I wanted to get ground, I would be pin 21, so I would be this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ah, okay, fair enough. So I got 5 volts. Okay. 5 volt is good. Now, where do I check the 12 volts? C2. I have a C2. I found a C2 earlier on. It must be these two here. Bloody. So this thing have 3 pins. And one of the pin is actually the case itself, I think. But it looks like, assuming that is ground, that's not connected to ground. Do I have another? That's minus here. Okay. So, theory, the case is ground. Fine. Okay, how do I find ground on the other side? So, well, okay, so that's my ground. Now, one is input and one is output. So in theory, if I power this up again, okay, and I put this on my ground. So this is the 12, well, that's the 5 volt. So one should be, okay, fair enough, input, 12 volts. And this should be my 5 volt output. There you go. And if I do the same here, I should have no input. Okay, that's a good thing actually. Because if I don't have input, and obviously no output, it means probably, actually, before I switch it off, the bridge rectifier is broken. So there are 2 bridge rectifiers here. And again, they will have AC coming in. So I got 11 volts coming on this one and 18 volts coming on the other one. And I should have some sort of rectified voltage. So I have 12 volts coming out of this one and nothing coming out of this one. Yay, we found a problem. The bridge rectifier is broken. It's not rectifying. I'll show you what it is. So this thing here, I hope you can see it. That's not working. Okay. I should have one of this, to be honest. I need to check the power that it needs. But it definitely has some replacement. Yeah, they're not the same case, but maybe for a test we can try it. This is big enough. Yeah, I don't think I have anything. This is actually Dolby stuff. Yeah. Cool. I guess let's remove that. To be honest, from my understanding, the 12 volts is for the drive. And as I said, this drive seems fine, but it doesn't spin. There you go, there's no 12 volts. So hopefully this one is as easy as just replacing the bridge rectifier. Again, I'll find one which is the same size of that one. But it looks like that's going to be the case. And on every bridge rectifier you will find instructions. You see you have like, what's that? That's AC, AC, minus and plus, so you know exactly how to connect it. Right, so give me a minute while I replace it. I'm waiting for my soldering station to come up back online, And then to be honest, this could be it. Hopefully there's nothing shorted, and that's the reason why that thing shorted. Right, here we go. I've got a new bridge, and as you can see, this one says plus AC minus, and this one you have plus here, AC in the middle, and minus there. So it looks like the power should be the same. Again, it's a quick test. I could actually leave this one, I guess, if it fits. But yeah, let's see what happens. I'm curious to see what happens. So yeah. Okay. So if this works, let me see everything. If this works, I should see the drive spinning when I power it up, and then I should read 12 volts out of this thing, which eventually goes, well, more than 12 to be honest. It should then go to the 12 volts regulator and go wherever it's supposed to go. So maybe I'll just give it 15 watts in case something explodes. 3, 2, 1, go. It spins and it stops. This seems to be working perfectly fine. Let me show you. Wow, that was easy. So you should be able to see everything from here. So when you power up, you will see the drive spinning and the LED LED lighting up for a second and switching off. See that? And yeah, and I could see that on the internet as well. It spins when you remove power as well, which is weird. Power off. Wow, there you go. This seems to be fixed. Now, since we're here, let's check those voltages. See what it says. I have a feeling that was the other way around, but hopefully the iPhone has sorted it out. So let's power it up. Okay, so now on these bridge rectifier we have 18 volts in AC and 22 out, which makes perfectly sense. So now if I'm checking my voltage regulators, one it's on ground, so this one has 12 volts in and 5 volts out, and this one has 22 in, which is the one that was missing before, and come on, 12 out. There we go. That was our problem. So yes, I will check the power that this bridge rectifier can deal with, and to be honest, I'm happy to leave that one. Why do I need to spend more money on this thing? Yeah, but this seems to be working. Obviously, I could find on the internet the 64 cables ready-made, like £5. So I didn't bother buying connectors and wasting time. I just bought the cables. So I bought a video cable for the 64 and a serial cable for the drive. So the next step of this one, to be honest, is to test it and see if it works. If it works, then obviously clean everything, lubricate the drive, clean. This is a big mess. There is some alignment that can be done. I'll see what I can do. To be honest, I guess if it works, maybe, you know, that's more than enough. Right, drive number 2, we're gonna do the same thing. This is a different revision. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I can't remember what this is doing, to be honest. So let's try. This is the one that spins, I think. And the one that spins. Well, let's try it first. This is a bit corroded. This is awful. So let's see what happens. Yeah. This spins. The red light never switches off. So I am told, well, I'm told, the internet says that this is the default mode before the electronic takes over. So I suppose we definitely have 12 volts, and I guess we're gonna have a 5 volts. Let's check the 5 volts, because if 5 volts is not there, the electronics is not working. So let's switch it on, and let's go back to the 6502, which is this CPU here. Where is it? Pin out. So I'm gonna check between pins 1 and 8. It's gonna be okay, 3.7. That's, well, wait, maybe it's just 4.1. So maybe it's just the, okay, that's not good. Again, unless it's a little bit of corrosion on the chip itself, or it could be the chip that doesn't sit properly in the socket. Got 4.1. That's not good. That's definitely not good. So let's flip the board around as we did before and see what it reads at the regulators. Okay, so let's do what we did before, and we check all these voltages. I like that these things are all messed up at the back, cables and things. Right, so let's check what we got as input. And you can see the multimeter there, more or less. Nope, that's better. Right. So let's measure between this, well, let's see what we got input as on the bridge rectifiers. 15, 9. 9 is a bit low. And what would he have as an output? That was supposed to be 8. That's not going to make 12 volts. And this is 18. Well, let's see what the regulator, well, oh. Okay, someone losing this, and oh, this screw is missing too. These are actually quite important because that's actually the connection to ground. It's the 3rd pin of the regulator, so that must be there and tightened. So. We're concerned about these. I don't think there's enough voltage on this, but yeah, let's see what happens now. First, does it do exactly the same thing? Yes. Okay. So what do we have? Let's check this one first. So we have 17 in and 12 out, perfectly fine. And this we have 8 in, oh, fair enough, that's 45 volt, and 5 out. Okay, so our voltages are fine. Unfortunately, I'd like to say, but the CPU is not getting this 5 volts. Yeah, the CPU is getting 4.1, which is wrong. So hopefully it's just a matter of reseating the whole thing. there's a couple of screws just to keep it in place. So unless I'm doing it wrong, that's definitely a 6502. I'm in AC, DC mode. Disconnect this. Okay. Let's power this back up. That is spinning, and I'm reading in between one of the ground pins. This is another one, it's fine, and pin number 8 VCC. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now I have 4.9. It was different with this one? That should be the same. That's weird. Now it's 4.9. Right. Let me do something. Okay. Just out of curiosity, again, I want to see. I would like to see. If there's any activity on the CPU. I want to see if there's any activity, because again, I don't know, I'm just curious. Before I reset everything, that's most curiosity. Okay, now CPU address lines. Right, let's power this up. You can see the scope from there, I think. Everything. Right, so this is an address line. And it's only high. Okay, that's supposed to go up and down. There's another address line is low. Another one is high. This is low. Slow. Low. Yes. So there's no activity on the address lines. Let's check the reset line, which is pin number 40 here. Is low, which I think is good. It should go high for a sec. No. Reset should go high. So if I power it on, nothing happens. So the CPU is not even resetting. Nothing is going to happen if the reset line is not moving. So let's check the clock in then, which is pin number 7. Oh, there's no clock. Okay, if there's no clock, there can't be any, either there's an issue with the socket, or you don't, there's nothing wrong with the CPU. CPU can't work because there's no clock. CPU won't do anything without clock. And so I guess the next step is to find out what happened to the clock. I think the clock is coming from here somewhere. We'll have to look at the schematics or unless, oh wait a minute, I called it sync. Oh, sorry, it's pin number 3, my bad. I got the wrong pin. So pin number 3. Okay, I think there is a clock. Yes, there is a 1 megahertz clock. Okay, so that's working perfectly fine. So there is clock, but the CPU is not resetting. And again, if the CPU is not resetting, it's not going anywhere. Reset pin 40. Let me check that again. Nope. Okay. Now the thing is, I think the reset is coming from somewhere else. So there's something on the board which is basically sensing the voltages and everything, and when he says, okay, I've got the voltage, everything is stable, let's enable the CPU. Otherwise, I think the CPU may start processing when maybe power is not stable already, and it may crash and maybe lock itself. So I need to find out where the clock signal is coming from. Sorry, the reset signal. So I need to take a look at the schematics here. Okay, I've got the other 1541 on the bench, because it's not... I found the reset line on the schematics. It looks like it's coming from the computer, which makes sense up to some point. I'll also see some other components. Basically, I want to see, on the video I watched online, the reset should happen regardless whether there's a C64 connected or not. But again, I've got another one which seems to be working, so I just I can take a look here. So I'm going to check the reset line again, which is pin 40. Okay, and see what happens. Yeah, so as you can see, it stays low for a sec, and then it goes high. Yes, and it's spinning as it's supposed to be. You can probably see that better here in this way. There it goes, it goes high. Perfect. So we know that, to be honest, it could be just a matter of come on, something wrong with the reset line on the other one. Again, no reset line, no CPU. It's very easy. So first thing first, it's quite unlikely, but first thing first, let me reset the CPU. It's mainly because it looks dirty. Let me... I'm gonna wash these boards, I guess, at some point. So, okay, and if I need it, I have another 6202, and it happens to be in the Abacus 80, Arta 80. It's based on a 6502. The Apple II as well, even though it's a slightly different model, at least the one I have. Okay, so let's connect my ground back. I need a smaller one. Okay. And let's check again pin 40 and see what happens. Okay. See what happens. Right, nothing happens. Okay, so I guess if I go backwards, again, this is where I should know a bit more about electronics. So the reset line is coming from outside, but it's also, I guess it's also coming from a couple of chips. One is the 7406 and one is the 74LS14. So, right, a little Just want to show you the reset line because it's actually an interesting troubleshooting that I've done, I think. And again, I'm not an electronic expert, but I feel this is fairly easy. So if I'm looking at the reset line here, where it says reset, top left, so this is coming from the computer. Okay, so I guess the C64 has the ability to reset the drive if required. But if there's nothing connected, you will find these things. So it's basically a 5-volt line which is connected to our reset line through a resistor. So there's one here, and that's it. So as far as I understand, those are called pull-up resistors. So basically what happens is, um, again, when we are talking of low and high, we are talking low is 0 volt and high is, in this case, 5 volts. So in order for the reset line to be correctly working, so allowing the CPU to work, it has to be high. So it has to be 5 volts. Now, these pull-up resistors, they basically pull up the voltage to 5 volts. But if something comes through the line like 0 volts from the CPU, the resistor is there to make sure that the 5 volts here basically is not trying too hard to keep the line to 5 volts. So in other words, if there's nothing coming from the CPU, if there's nothing coming from the CPU, sorry, from the Commodore 64, like a ground signal, this line is going to be high. So wherever you see a pull-up resistor, there's going to be 5 volts. But if the CPU suddenly says, no, I need this low, so that's going to be ground, okay, this 5-volt will not short it because there's a resistor in between, and it's designed basically to not stop the ground from going through, if that makes sense. So unless there is ground coming from the 664, this part here is going to be 5 volts, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, oops, want to the eraser. Go. Slowest computer ever. Okay, so let's have a look at this together. So this, if I see that right, is a NOT gate. So that means, so pin 14 is basically power to the chip. 7 is ground, and then you have 1 as input and 2 as output. What means is if 1 is high, 2 is low. Or if 1 is low, 2 is high. So it inverts, it's an inverter, I think it is, inverts the voltage, right? So high becomes low, low becomes high. Don't ask me why. And this and this is a logic gate which is part of UA1. So there's a chip called UA1 which has a bunch of these gates, of these logic ports, basically. So this is basically telling you, I think, is UA1A. So that's logic number A. This one is UB1A. So that's logic A of UB1, and so on. It's quite nice schematics because rather than showing you the big chip and you have to go online and see what happens, it's actually showing you um, the logic behind it. So it's quite, I find it, it's very, very helpful from my point of view. So this is a NOT gate. So that means, again, if I don't have anything coming from the 664 because I haven't got 664 connected to the drive, this line here is going to be low, right? Sorry, well, it's floating, basically, there's nothing. So that's why you have the pull-up resistor. So here, this part here is high. Is there better? Bear with me. I need the capacity and what is this? No, capacity 100%. Size smaller. Right. Come on. So this is going to be high. this part here, okay? So that means that this, unless, again, assuming there's nothing coming from the C64, this is going to be low, because that's a NOT gate. Then there's another NOT gate. Again, don't ask me why it's like that. I don't know, maybe for some delay or something, I have no idea. But there's another one. So this one is going to be high. And actually, you have another pull-up resistor here. I don't know why there's a diode here. I don't know why there's a capacitor here. Maybe the capacitor is to have some delay. I have no idea. So you have a line in this part here, which is high. Now, this one is, that one is a XOR. So basically, I'm reading from the internet. Output is at logic 1, so high, when one and only one of its input is at logic 1, so high. Otherwise, it's logic 0, low. So basically saying, so you got pin 4 and 5 of this thing, okay? Only when 1 is high, then 6 is high. Otherwise, it's low. Now, 4 is grounded, okay? So that basically is I don't know why it's there, to be honest. Must be a reason. It's basically saying when pin 5 is high, then 6 is high. When pin 5 is low, then 6 is low, because 4 is tied to ground. So again, this is a normal situation. This line here is high, which means that this is high, okay? Which is exactly what we need for our CPU, right? Again, this is without the C64 connected, which may send a ground signal. But the thing is, in reality, I have a low line here, okay? I'm not measuring any voltage here. So something happens in this area here, okay? Which is very easy, to be honest, as you can see. Something happens here, and simply, again, you don't have a voltage out of it, which means something is going wrong. So what I'm going to do in a minute, I'm going to probe with the oscilloscope in stages and see what happens, and see basically where the line is stopping being what it's supposed to be. Again, it's I think it's the first time I'm actually doing something like that. I don't need to wait. But it's quite interesting. Again, schematics are helping quite a lot. So hopefully this little explanation helps you understanding, because obviously when I'm doing it, I'm learning it myself, and also trying to, appreciate my videos are not the best, and I'll try to overlay the schematics while I'm troubleshooting, and hopefully I can put some marking on it. So hopefully you understand better where I am, what I'm doing, and what I find wrong, assuming there's anything wrong with it. Right, so we are on UD3 this time. UD3, UD4, UD3. Okay. There's a capacitor on top of it, which is a 74 LS86. Okay. Right, so let's start from the beginning again. So my pin number 6 is my reset line, which goes to the CPU. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let's probe this, and it's low, which makes sense. It's what the CPU is reading. Now number 5 and 4. This is a AND gate, I think. I can't remember. I need to check it. So 4 is ground, and 5 is whatever comes from the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 is low, 4 is ground. So ground and ground equal ground, which makes sense. So I guess 4 is fixed. This is ground. So I guess what we need to find out is why 5 doesn't go high. Now let's check also number 14, which is power to this thing. Yeah, we do have power. Starts with a lot of ripple, but there is power. So that is coming from UB1A. Oh, and this is where no, that's not where we were. UB, yes. Okay. UB, and now I can't find the UB. Here, UA, UB, that's it. Oh, it's a MOS chip. Oh, it's not good. UB1A, UB1A, pin number 2 is my output, which should be ground. It's connected. There's a number of components, but it's connected to pin number 5. So pin number 2, oh, interesting, which there's a bot wire on top. Interesting, very interesting. I wonder whether someone tried to do something on this thing. Okay, so 2 is ground, fine, even though again there's a little mod on top, and I wonder, there's a mod here as well. Interesting. Okay, okay, and then this should have 5 volts here. Oops. Yes, we have 5 volts. And then pin number 1 is my input. And again, this is a NOT gate, I think. So my input is positive, sorry, it's high. So my output is low. But it shouldn't be like that. Okay. That's number 1, which comes from pin number 2 of UA1, which is this one, pin number 2. So my pin number 2 is high, okay, because do I have voltage on pin number 14? Yes, you do. And my pin number 1 should be low. Which it is, but this should actually be high because there's R8, which is pulling this high because there's nothing connected to the computer. So R8 is here, and I should have 5 volts on one end, and to be honest, I should have 5 volts on the other end. I have 5 volts on one end, but nothing on the other one. Again, this is where my electronic skills are not great, to be honest. So let's check this resistor. It's supposed to be a 1K resistor, R8. Well, it's reading 490, but again, it's in circuit. There's another one here. That's a different, okay. The thing is, again, because this is then going to nowhere. Yeah, it's going to the reset line coming from the connector. So the issue here is that pin number 1 of UA1 is not 5 volts. But it should be, because there's a pull-up resistor. In theory, honestly, I think if I put 5 volts on that one, the CPU should start. But again, pin number 1 is low. And it could be low because the chip is broken and is grounding everything. Let's remove that resistor and see. I mean, I can replace it. See what it reads. Okay, so I've removed the resistor. See what it reads. I don't think this is a problem, to be honest. Yeah, it's 1 kilo ohm. Okay. So again, this is where I'm not sure, but because pin 1 reads low and the reads 5 volts after R8, to be honest, I can see probably a fault with that chip, and it's probably shorting to ground. I can probably verify it. And oh, wait, I have two inductors here which are shorting each other. Let me show you. I can't believe it's that easy. Now, see that? They're kissing each other. Dirty mind. They're kissing each other, and again, that it's on the line. It's exactly on the line which I need. So if I push them away and power it up, chances are it's starting. I don't think so, but anyways, give it a go. Okay, would have been too easy. But let's check the reset line again. Again, pin number 1 is what I'm expecting high, and it wasn't. Oh, now it is high. Wait a minute, now it is working. So my reset line on the CPU, whoa, look at that. So we fixed one problem, but so it was that thing, it was shorting. It was basically pushing the reset button all the time. Interesting. Okay, so let's see what the CPU is doing. Okay, the CPU is working. No. It's kind of working. I mean, this is a bit... Yeah, no, it's fine. So, as you can see, the CPU has started, but this is still not working. This is still not working. It's interesting. Okay, so... Well, this is going to be interesting, because we know the CPU is now working. And the next, it could be anything else. But something I've seen on that video is to basically, these are two ROMs, just to check the one ROM is selected on the bus at the same time only. So it's pin 20. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So if I'm checking pin 20 here, one should be high, one should be low. That's definitely the wrong pin. Okay, one. Well, actually, no, that's fine. I'm saying rubbish, obviously. Yeah, I should probably need two probes at the same time. Even that doesn't look right. That's a very weird signals. This is fine. So imagine this thing. As you can see, this is made of on off, on off, on off, on off. So this is every time the ROM basically is allowed to talk on the bus. So when it's low, actually, it means it's your turn, okay? While if I'm checking the other, and so you can clearly see the bits. These are like, this is basically 1 1 0 0 1 0 1 0 0 0 1 1 0 0, something like that. While if I'm checking the other one, 1 2 3 4, what was that? Oh, I can't remember which one it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's weird. It's no. You see that? Can you see those signals? They're just not right. You don't see 1 and O's. You don't see on and off. So let's reset this thing. I know that I'm resetting everything, but you know, that's the first thing you try and do. Oh, it's another one which is impossible to remove. The good thing is if it's a ROM, I guess I can write one. I don't know. Oh. That's not good. I don't know whether that could be a problem, but it definitely doesn't help. So let's get rid of that rust. Okay, I got rid of the rust. Well, it just broke. I think I never tried it. There's a little trick to fix this by basically sacrificing another one. Okay. I don't know. Again, ideally, I want to replace this thing, but yeah, maybe. Let's see what happens. Let's give it a little blow. Okay, let's put this back in the right direction. Again, oh, okay. Actually went in okay, I think. Ooh, okay. Fair enough. I guess I could try the one from the other one, but maybe because I see it's a slightly different design. I don't know. I may want to check online that it's gonna work. You know, I don't want to destroy everything straight away. Cool. So let's see what happens now. Right. So this is still spinning, and let's see what the same pin is doing now. It's got worse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's got worse. Yeah, CPU is not talking anymore. Reset line is fine. What's going on? Again, oh, this is an address line. I can see some tentative, but it's not talking anymore. If I bent the pin, which would be very easy to do and very, very possible. I don't know, but everything seems to be okay here. very interesting. It's a bit weird that, you know, I took this out, tried to fix it, and now this is not working. Well, it wasn't working before either, but it's working worse. Okay, no, I haven't. Let me clean this a little bit. Okay, let's try this again. There's an address line again. Okay. It got worse. Could be anything. Let me try and reset the other one too. Have I broken anything in the meantime? Let's check this one. It's dirty, it's horrible, but it's okay. Okay, let's try again. Okay. No, we definitely lost something here. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I mean, chances are that this EPROM failed. Maybe when I soldered it. I don't know. Can happen. Kind of a weird signal, but okay, it's the same on the other one. Just wondering if I'm shorting something with my ground clip here. No. Okay. So let me go back to the basics. So CPU is 1 megahertz. 37, it's got the 1 megahertz out. The reset line is working. Is it working? Okay. 4 and 6 are supposed to be high. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. 6. Yes. Which indicate CPU running. 34 is read and write. 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, and it's not much. There is a little bit, but not much. Okay. The disappointing thing is it was working, and then I removed this ROM. I'd be so tempted to get the ROMs from the other one and see if that works, to be honest. Let me see if it's the same chip. 905. Yes. Okay, now the same. Let's try this. I mean, yeah, they should work, to be honest. Don't. Now it may even work, or it may not, or maybe I'm destroying two very expensive chips. I don't know, but I don't know. See what happens. I didn't check the voltages. The voltages should be fine on this board. Let's try it. Okay, something different is happening because I think he tried to move the head. Let me see what happens here on an address line. No. Okay, so that doesn't seem. Oh, worked. Why is it happening like randomly like that? Well, it's behaving as it should, but not every time. I don't know what's going on here. Look. And then it froze. Well, let's. But there is now activity. It could be a bad connection, to be honest. Something somewhere. But sometimes there is activity. That's interesting. I'd be tempted to, I don't know what. Just to reset all the other sockets, components. Okay, well, let's see what happens now. I doubt anything is going to happen. It's just that this seems to be very intermittent. So you always think of sockets, to be honest. Okay, no. Again, address line. You see that sometimes something happens. So, you know, now it's working, but not every time. Okay. And again, the ROMs are from another unit, which seems to be working. I'm still a bit. I mean, these sockets are horrible. They only make contact on one side. So I want to try again without breaking these things. That would be great. Probably would be a good idea to just replace them. Okay, let's try now. Something happens, something is trying to move the head. You can see that. Yeah. But it doesn't stop spinning. The other one doesn't move the head. I don't know whether that's supposed to happen, to be honest. So many question marks. But I want to try this one again. One thing here, that got the positive of the capacitor, which I'm not sure would be a good idea to short, especially if I'm removing a nephron. It's just, now it's coming out so easily. It really feels like it's not really making contact. Okay, let's try this again. Nope. That's interesting. But still again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see the ROM select line. Oh, it worked. And I'm pushing on this ROM. And it worked. Let me try again. Nope. That's a weird thing. Let's try again. Anyways, this select line is good. The other one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is not good, but something happened for a moment. And then it stopped. I still blame these sockets. I think I'm going to replace them. You see what happens? That's weird. It looks like it's trying to send the signal there, but it doesn't form properly. See, sometimes there's a signal, sometimes there isn't. I could try and see where is that. Okay, ROM, yes. Chip enable pin 20. Okay, I see where this is coming from. It's actually on the same page of the reset line, which is coming from A13 and A15 of the CPU. So if I check A13 and A15, so 13 is this one, which is, well, yeah, it starts okay, then it stops obviously. And 15 is this one. Again, it looks fine. So this goes into, again, it was that an AND gate. Which one is the one which is not working? UB3 or UB4? It's UB3. UB3 is going through UC50, UC50, or maybe sorry, UC5, UC5, okay. 9 is the input, 8 is the output. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, come on. Okay. And this is fine. And 8 is the output. Okay. Well, this is a NOT gate, so I should have the opposite on this side, and I don't see. Do we have it? I have. Well, it worked by the way now. Weird. Now the head moved. Seems like he's trying to make something, but again, if I have these as an input, I should have the opposite as an output. And I don't. It's trying. Definitely trying to form. You see, it's getting better and better, but no. Okay. Now, final test before I blame that chip. I want to remove. Oof, I want to remove my EPROM here. What I want to see is if that now here on pin 8, so that's 9, 8. Yes, I have the same nothing. Now obviously probably just no much data because the EPROMs are not there. But no, actually the input is still happening, but there's no output. Well, the output is this mess. So yeah, this is then going into something else, and I feel this is my issue, to be honest. UC5, assuming that's the UC5 I'm looking at. Now I don't really want to desolder chips from the other one. It says MOS, unfortunately, so hopefully something that can be replaced with something. Well, it actually says 74 LSO4 UC5D UC5. Yeah, I don't have a 74 LSO4, do I? No, I have a 1.4 on the other one, which is socketed. But that's a good thing. It looks like it's a standard component. 724 LSO4 is whatever it is. 724 LSO4, yes, on the other one it actually is written 724 LS00. Yes, they put a MOS component, but yeah, it looks like it's a standard thing. Now I have some 74 LS. I have 74 something, but no, not that one. So I need to get one of those. I'm actually, before I finish this, let me get the pin out of a 74 LS04. There it is. Yes. So it's a very basic component, and it's yeah, absolutely, it's a NOT gate. So yeah, those two pins, they're definitely correct. There's the input, and the output is the inverse of the input. So this is my input. And you see, again, you probably can see more from here. Again, it's going up and down, up and down, up and down. The point is you can't really see this. Actually, I'll show you. If I stop this and then I zoom in. Again, same thing. You know, it's 101010, but when you run it, well, obviously I need that there. When you run it in roll mode, you can't see much. If you disable the roll mode and you zoom in, you have to imagine that, again, the data keeps changing. So it basically overlaps on the monitor over and over and over again. So that's why you see a little bit of a mess. But that means it's working. And again, my output is corrupted. You see, it's not, it's half of it. It's supposed to be square waves, and it's not. Okay? So that's probably why sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I guess it could be that sometimes the signal, the output signal, is high enough to be recognized by the ROMs. So maybe there's nothing wrong with these ROMs. Besides one having lost a leg. Okay. Yeah, it's even worse when there's a component connected. Yeah, I need one of those. And hopefully, it's interesting there were two issues here. But yeah. It's interesting that sometimes he manages to start up. That's cool. And before I go to bed, so I sleep better, I'd like to test the other drive and make sure it still works. I hope so. There's no reason why I shouldn't. Yeah, okay. Well, I didn't switch it off, but yeah, it's definitely working. Oh, we can actually check the signal here. Wow, forgot about that. Yeah. So let's plug my earth here. It's nice to have two units, especially when one works. You can, you know, you can double check things. So let's try the same thing. So this is my input of my NOT gate, and it's doing what the other one is doing. Let's try the output. You see that the output is very live, and you can't see it now because obviously it's a big mess, but it's the opposite of the input. So that's definitely not working. And because it's happening without the chip on the other one, I don't, well, actually, I'm thinking about, there is another component in the way, which could, maybe, could be. Maybe I'll get both of them. I think these chips are very, very cheap. The other one is the UC6, okay, which is the one. Oh, wait a minute. UC5 is not here anymore. Interesting. Oh, but looking at the component number, it's so weird. That should be this one, and it goes into 4 and 5, and it comes out as 6. So if I'm checking 4 and 5, well, the output is 6, which is this. Oop, I was powered up. Well, not much, but something happens. So 6 is actually my pin 20 of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same thing. You see that something happens. At some point, it's reading from the memory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's doing the same. while the other one doesn't have signal on that one. And that's actually what happens here on pin 7, which is my output of my 724LS00. There you go. You have a, you know, you read something. It's fine. I'm okay with that. Now, so this works. I think this works. I don't know whether the head is supposed to move. We'll find out. But for now, this works. Again, with that one now, I need a working 64 and a cable. So back to the, let's call it the broken one. I just want to see what happens on the following component, which is again the UC6, which is the LS 74LS00. Okay, and if I'm going on pin 7, well, pin 6 is the output which goes to the ROM, so I won't do anything. Exactly. So if I'm check pin number 4, I don't get anything. If I check pin number 5, I have activity which is coming from the other chip, from the other line, sorry. And again, my problem is always, you know, I would think, is if I check in on the other one, this ROM is actually read at the end, just before it stops running. So for a moment I thought, what if there's an issue with the first ROM, it's not reading the instructions it's supposed to read, and so it never goes to the second one. But again, my problem is always here. It's a NOT gate, and I have an input, which again happens for a second, because then probably the CPU says, well, I can't, there's something not working, so I'll stop. But I don't have an output at all, or almost at all. I think if I keep trying, every now and then it comes up with something, but mostly there's nothing. Okay, so I definitely need one of those, but I think I'll also get a 724LS00, which is the next component in the line before the chip, just in case it's that one actually holding up on that one. Actually, I think my programmer can check those chips. Maybe tomorrow I can give it a go, but I'll can place an order. It's gonna be it's an easy swap, and it's an easy component. It should be very, very, very cheap. It's not vintage stuff. Okay, so yesterday I realized that my chip programmer, this little thing, should have some logic tester as well, because again, the chip that I was talking about yesterday, it's should be a fairly easy chip, to be honest. So I have desoldered this already off camera, and I should be able to pull it out. There we go. So that's the one that to me doesn't work, because again, that's the NOT gate. And let me okay, so let's see if the chip is available in the list and what the software says about it. 04. Let's test it. And as you can see, this is much better. Not everything failed. Only 3 lines failed. Yeah, so we know this is wrong. This is bad. It's definitely bad. Fantastic. So it looks like my diagnostic was good, and this actually didn't work. I'd be tempted to try this one too, because I ordered one of these as well. But to be honest, I think I'll just replace this one when it comes, and if it still doesn't work, then I'll try that one. But to be honest, I ordered this one too because I was kind of unsure whether maybe the line was being pulled up or down by the following chip, but this is testing bad. I like this machine, it's quite nice. Cool. So yeah, I watched the video, and a guy was using this very machine, and I thought, oh yes, he has some logic testing capabilities as well. And there you go. You know, it's when you have these standard chips, you can definitely use them. So I think I'll fit a socket here. It's always a good idea to have sockets, you know, just in case. And I'll wait for the part. I have received today, very fast, some chips. As I mentioned in the previous video, I've ordered both a NOT gate, but also the following chip. They're quite cheap. So what I need here, there it is. Well, that's the broken one, but that is a mouse chip. If I remember correctly, basically Commodore, to try and save money, they basically manufacture chips themselves. So according to the schematics, this is a 74LS04, and as you can see, I have a 74LS04N here, and here is a 74LS00N. Now, I'm not sure about the N, but it should work. I've socketed these already, which you may be able to see here. Yeah, put the socket the other day, I happened to have it, so I just went ahead and socketed it. So now it should just be a matter of, just put the chip back in, straighten it up first. Wonder why these chips, they come from the factory with the legs spread out, so they never fit into anything basically. There it is. So I got the chip in, and I'm curious to see what happens, because if you remember, this chip is sending the select line for I can't remember if it's both of at least this ROM, and that ROM basically was not being selected. So yeah, I got this is definitely faulty, because it tests faulty on my chip test, so put an X on it. I got power connected, and let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1, go. Right, it still spins, so this is not fixed yet. Right. Right, so it's getting interesting. Let's go back on my input 9 of the UC5. So 9 is here, which is coming from the CPU. And I do have something not for much, but that something's happening, as it was before. You can see that in here. There it is. And now let's check the output. There we go. So that's a healthy output. Perfect. Now let's see what the ROM is receiving on pin 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should be, well, it's going through another chip, but let's see what that receives. It's still not happy. So let's go backwards. The output of pin 8 of UC5D is going into input 4 of UC6B, which is the other one I've ordered. UC6, pin number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this should be exactly the output of the previous chip. Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. And there's also an input on 5, which is coming from the other line. So let's check that too. Perfectly fine. And the output, which is, that should be a, oh, I don't know what gate that is. It's not an AND, because it has a little dot at the end. I'll find out. But anyway, the output is pin number 6, which is this. And as you can see, it doesn't like it. It's the same signal we seen before. So let's remove that chip, because that one is going straight to the ROM. So again, we know that everything is now happy with UC5. Now there's something on UC6, and I happen to, you know, I was clever enough to order one of those. So let's desolder it, put a socket, we got the chip, and who knows, it may be the last one on this thing. Okay, so I've removed that chip, and there's a nice socket in place. So let's see what happens. Okay, so we are ready for testing it again. We got this SN724LS00, and let's see what happens. Just double checking everything. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Right, still spinning. Okay, so let's go. Let's keep checking this. Let's keep finding faulty parts. Okay, so let's go back on the chip I just installed. So let's check what's the output of that gate, which is number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, it's definitely better, I think. Yeah, and it happens after a second, which is I think what we saw on the other drive. It's the CPU is looking on the other ROM after a second, which is basically when the drive stops. I don't know why, but let's check on the ROM itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be the same signal. Yeah, there's definitely an improvement. Because it seems to be working. So that was definitely bad, and this is now definitely, well, I would say it's good. Let's check an address line of the CPU to see, you know, what happens there. There's not much happening there. Let's check an address line of one of these ROMs. No, pin number 8. Oh, pin number 1. It's easier. That's address line 7. Definitely something happening here. Let's check on the other ROM. Definitely something happening here. Let's check the select line on the first ROM. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's what we could see on the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the other ROM is being selected at the end after, well, the end, after a second. Yeah. But it's still not working. So, that's a bit of a disappointment. Let me check, because the ROM is using addresses from 0 to 12. So checking on the 6502, let's check the address from 0 to 12. So we start from pin 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Definitely something happening here. Pin 10, same. 11, same. It's a bit weird, but anyway. 12, yeah, it's fine. 13, fine. 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, not much, but something's happening. 18, 19, and 20. What? Yeah. Let's try again. Okay. So, I don't know. But the weird thing is, this drive had a faulty reset line. Now we got a faulty, the faulty ROM select. It's still not working. That's interesting. That's very interesting. And definitely now we have, oh, we didn't check the 5 volts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what's 6 or 8? 6, 7, 8. Okay. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 volts. Okay. So since we fixed that select line, remember that that's the ROM which had the rusted pin. So to be honest, I'd like to try the other drive's ROMs again and see what happens. Okay, let's see what happens now. Whew, it stopped. It works. So, yeah, the only thing, well, those ROMs, I can probably sort them out. I think they're not non-standard, so that means, yeah, I think I need to find the same thing, or I need to a standard one and then use an adapter. But yeah, that seems to be working fine. Wow. So basically this had a faulty reset line, a faulty ROM select line, and a faulty ROM. Again, I need to investigate on this. Again, being ROM, hopefully I can just burn them somewhere, somehow. But yeah, it feels quite rewarding. You know, I've been working on this for a few days, and the funny thing is, I think it never happened to me. I actually identified all these issues with the scope and not just replacing parts. And now it seems to be working. Again, too bad I haven't got a working 64 right now. But this is now behaving exactly like the other one, which again, the drive spins and then it stops. And actually, let's see. You know, if I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's a select line of the second ROM, you will see that it gets active just after a second, after I switch on, and then I don't know what happens next. You see? So that's what we were seeing. Maybe it was a bit shorter earlier on. So it was going on the EEPROM, it was selecting it, but maybe the EEPROM was just not EEPROM, sorry. The EEPROM was not coming back with the data that it was expecting. So let me put this back on the other drive. Let me give it another clean. Okay. So let's try this again. And see what happens. And it works. So yeah, it's just dirty legs. So we got 2 drives. 2 out of 2, that's not bad. That's 100% on my book. again, I'd be curious now to go ahead and test them, but wow, it's working. Let me see how the curiosity. I'm actually, you know, was when I ordered the chips, I also ordered the LS00. I had this guts feeling, you know, let's get the other one. I got them from the same seller, so they arrived all together. I want to check on this address line. Yeah, it's definitely something's happening. And previously was just dying. Okay, well, happy days. The head is not moving, but the other one is not moving either. I doubt now I have two drives with the same fault. So again, now I think I need a working C64 and see if they actually work, and then if they actually read something, if, you know, there's obviously a calibration procedure for these drives. But yeah, happy days. And yeah, I need to fix the 64 now.